You're watching VNews Bulletin. I'm Vi Hằng from Hanoi with the major stories.
National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng received the outgoing head of the delegation of the European Union in Vietnam and the newly appointed ambassador of Saudi Arabia. The State Bank of Vietnam has increased the average interbank exchange rate between the Vietnam dong and US dollar applicable to August 19 by 1%. US Physics Nobel laureate George Smoot has an exchange with outstanding students in the central province of Bình Định.
National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng hosted separate receptions on August 19th for the outgoing head of the delegation of the European Union in Vietnam and the newly appointed ambassador of Saudi Arabia.
Receiving Ambassador Franz Janssen, head of the delegation of the European Union in Vietnam, Chairman Hùng spoke highly of the official's contributions during his tenure in Vietnam, helping to boost cooperative relations between Vietnam and the EU. According to the legislative leader, over the past 5 years, the bilateral cooperation has seen great strides. It can be seen through two-way trade, which reached $19 billion in the first half of this year, up 11% compared to the same period last year. The two sides have regularly exchanged high-ranking delegations. The chairman expressed his hope that the ambassador in any positions will continue to nurture and support friendly and cooperative relations between the Vietnamese National Assembly and the European Parliament, as well as EU members. The same day, National Chairman Hùng met Saudi Arabian Ambassador Dakhil Al-Johani. He affirmed that Vietnam always wants to boost cooperative ties with Saudi Arabia and develop the bilateral relationship in a more effective and practical manner. Hùng stated that the Vietnamese National Assembly wishes to share experience in legislation with the Consultative Assembly of Saudi Arabia, while strengthening ties between the two governments towards the target of $3 billion in the coming time. For his part, Ambassador Al-Johani affirmed his wish to boost cooperation between the two countries in the fields of labor and agriculture.
The State Bank of Vietnam has increased the average interbank exchange rate between the Vietnam dong and US dollars applicable to August 19th by 1%, from 21,673 Vietnam dong to 21,890 Vietnam dong per $1.
The central bank also widened the trading band of Vietnam dong to US dollars from positive or negative 2% to positive or negative 3%. With those adjustments, the ceiling exchange rate is 22,547 Vietnam dong per dollar, and the floor rate is 21,233 Vietnam dong per dollar. The central bank explained that to respond to the Chinese yuan's strongest devaluation in 2 decades, the bank already raised the trading band of Vietnam dong to US dollars from positive or negative 1% to positive or negative 2% on August 12th. Developments in the domestic and foreign markets in the following days proved that the move was appropriate. However, the domestic market is still concerned over the impact of the U.S. Federal Reserve's possible increase of interest rates, the bank said, elaborating that it hiked the interbank exchange rate to proactively lead the market and prepare for adverse effects of the Fed's likely move.
U.S. Physics Nobel laureate George Smoot has an exchange with outstanding students in the central province of Bình Định who won awards at the recent International Physics Olympiad and those with excellent scholastic achievements.
George Smoot praised local students for their in-depth knowledge of science and their commitments to physics, saying he was surprised and fascinated by the questions on cosmology posed by the students. He shared his knowledge and experiences with participants and advised the Vietnamese students to pursue their passion and dreams in the field.
Vietnam is one of the major emerging economies these days, and I actually talked to some of the government officials here about what kind of business they're starting, how they can be energy efficient, how can we be planning for the future.
Local students said they were honored to meet the world-famous scientists and pledged to remain dedicated to their studies. George Smoot, who won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2006, is attending an international physics conference in Bình Province from August 17 to 22nd, which focuses on the evolution of the universe, the Big Bang Theory, and universal radiation.
The government has asked the Vietnam Rubber Group to devise a strategy to boost the rubber industry's development, rather than focusing purely on rubber plantations.
At a recent meeting on the group's restructuring progress in Ho Chi Minh City, the Vietnam Rubber Group stated that prices of rubber and latex have been in a steep decline since 2012, as Vietnam's low output makes it difficult for the industry to reduce its dependence on prices on the global market. Moreover, 60% of Vietnamese rubber is currently controlled by the Chinese market, while moves to expand to other markets have faced difficulties. Following the government's guidelines, the group will equitize 5 of its companies in 2015 towards equitizing the parent company by 2017, along with 17 other member companies. To alleviate its current struggle, the Vietnam Rubber Group has asked the government for more tax barriers on rubber trading to allow the group to diversify its crop and to lift tariffs on recultivation projects. Addressing the meeting, Deputy Prime Minister Vũ Văn Ninh asked the group to map out a general strategy to develop the nation's rubber industry sustainably and avoid price fluctuations. He said the industry needs to take full advantage of its strengths in farmland, increasing its productivity and quality by applying new technologies and cooperating with relevant fields.
In order to industrialize our agricultural sector, we need to think beyond small-scale development. We have to be able to incorporate different fields, from production to processing to consumption, to reach a sustainable development pace.
Vietnam Rubber Group is expected to earn a total revenue of $986.23 million this year.
Vietnam is still the 5th largest tea exporter in the world, but the quality of its tea products has not been appreciated. So, seeking ways to improve the quality and hygiene of tea products is considered an urgent task of not only relevant agencies, but also localities and tea producers.
At a workshop held in the northern province of Thái Nguyên on August 18, many participants warned that there is a lack of connections between tea processors and growers. Meanwhile, some others noted due attention has been paid to controlling fresh tea quality, leading to the increasing abuse of plant protection drugs. Another cause is that material tea collected through intermediaries not only results in high production costs, but also affects tea quality, reducing the competitiveness of Vietnamese tea in foreign markets. Being aware of that matters, Minister of Control and Rural Development Cao Đức Phát requested localities and enterprises to support farmers in reorganizing tea production, while offering practical solutions to improve tea hygiene and safety.
Vietnam's tea exports reached only 3.5 to 4 out of 10 points in terms of quality. So, it is urgent to turn off tea cultivation areas and encourage farmers to use new varieties and apply advanced technologies in production, thus helping improve the quality of tea products. We also need to rearrange production activities and enhance connections among enterprises while stepping up the building of a brand name for Vietnamese tea products.
Vietnam currently has over 132,000 hectares of tea, of which 115,000 hectares are reserved for commercial tea production. Techniques for safe tea production have not proved efficient, as little attention has been paid to input materials, especially protection products in tea leaves.
Building steel output in July reached 613,000 tons, posting 51.5% increase over the same period last year, and marking the record high in the past 10 years.
The Vietnam Steel Association's steel output in the first 7 months of the year rose 28% from last year's level to 3.6 million tons, while consumption was at 3.5 million tons. However, domestic steel producers continue to face the pressures of falling consumption and increased use of imported steel, despite improvements in the economy. Accordingly, consumption of building steel last month reached over 522,000 tons, 1.5% less than the previous month's figure, but represented a year-on-year surge of 23%. The association added that in June, 1.64 million tons of steel was imported, posting 26% rise in comparison with the previous month. Exported steel in June was more than 232,000 tons, posting a 20% year-on-year rise.
The house at 48 Hàng Ngang Street is the place where late President Ho Chi Minh authored the Declaration of Independence, giving birth to the Democratic Republic of Vietnam in 1945. As a result, the house has become a historic site and an attraction for both Vietnamese and foreign tourists. Let's take a look.
President Ho Chi Minh stayed in the house's second floor from August 25th to September 2nd, 1945, and as such, the house has been preserved as a relic site in his remembrance since 1970, and it was ranked as a National Heritage Site. The house once belonged to patriots Trịnh Văn Bô and Hoàng Thị Minh Hồ. In the living room of the second floor, there is still a stable, sofas, terracottas, a cupboard and a sofa near the door. The next small room features the table where President Ho Chi Minh began writing the Declaration of Independence. There are also many other objects relating to President Ho Chi Minh and other Party Central Committee officials during their preparations for Independence Day.
We read the book before we went to Vietnam, so we know about Ho Chi Minh and what changed, and especially we know, of course, about the Vietnam Wars, etc. And we know now that in 1945 he wrote here the independence letter. So I think for Vietnam it's a special place.
The house's ex-owner, Hoàng Thị Minh Hồ, is now 102 years old. In the first days of the August Revolution in 1945, and when the state was formed, her family donated over 5,000 tons of gold, which today would be worth over $7.8 million to the revolutionary cause. They also encouraged businessmen in Hanoi to offer 1,000 tons of gold. During the time Uncle Ho stayed and worked in the house, she served him wholeheartedly.
We are proud that our family devoted both assets and human strength to the revolution. It is also a great honor for my house, as it was selected as the place for Uncle Ho to stay.
Many people have since visited the house, given its attachment to the nation's historical event.
The Vietnam play The Mao's Daughter's Marriage by Singaporean director Chua Soon Phong is being featured at Malaysia's Georgetown Festival 2015, receiving critical acclaim from both critics and audiences alike. The Mao's Daughter's Marriage tells a light-hearted story about a mouse who rejected 3 eligible bachelor mice, all wishing for her hand in marriage, because they were neither rich or powerful. When she finally chooses to marry a cat, thinking it is superior to anyone from her own race, she must face the unexpected consequences of her actions.
It's good. It was done very professionally.
I thought the show tonight was very fun, super fun. I think it's very good for families, for kids, etc.
We are happy to say our play was well received by our Malaysian friends. Hopefully, after 2 performances at the Georgetown Festival 2015, the international community will learn more about the Vietnamese art community.
Short but sweet, the Georgetown Festival 2015 was an excellent opportunity for Vietnamese artists to showcase their talents and culture to the world. Now that the curtain is closing, the theatre hears only the joyous voices of the performers. The Georgetown Festival 2015 is a month-long celebration of arts in Penang, Malaysia, featuring many famous art troupes from Germany, Poland, Spain, China, Iran, Australia, Japan, Vietnam, and the host country, with over 100 special performances. And that has wrapped up our daily bulletin. Thank you for tuning in, and goodbye for now.